in the book it's written that you shouldn't breed cinnamon to cinnamon because the birds become too small. But that's my way of thinking, or in my experience, a complete nonsense. Of course, you have to take care that you don't, well, I know many studs that they have only cinnamons and just a few normals. I like both varieties, but especially when, let's say, if you work with a cinnamon cock, all the hens are afterwards cinnamons and all the birds, the cocks are split cinnamons. So if you don't care after, you end up with a shed full of cinnamon. So that's a little bit, as I told you, I love cinnamons and they are for sure my best birds, but I also like normals, and you have to be careful that the cinnamon factor is not getting over. The same what I told you now about cinnamons can be also told about opalines. Opalines, I have no idea why. I think it's beautiful, especially when you pair opaline to opaline. So you get the V at the back, you know, at the, how should I,
yes.
the V at the back. You only get this if you pair opaline to opaline. And most of my birds, especially the cocks, are split cinnamon and split opaline. For the same reason, better feather structure than the normal ones. Okay, next question. Achieving clean head. Well, when you see afterwards my breeding couples, I breed so many youngsters every year that I can make a strong selection and only keep the very best ones. But in my younger years, I was buying flecked birds from my mentor, Heinrich Ott. He didn't like flecked birds, so he sold them. And I bought always, especially flecked hens. And when you pair a flecked hen, a perfect young hen without any fault, it's difficult to buy. But I always bought the flecked ones, and flecked birds often have better feather structure, no feather troubles than the normal ones. And you have to take a selection. If you pair a flecked hen to a normal cock, you get, let's say, from 3 rounds, 14 chicks, and then you keep the ones that are clean. But I have no problems at all to work with flecked birds. But again, you have to be careful and look that it's not all over the place. You can put flecked birds also into Enos, red eyes, Lutino albinos. That's what I do often as well. Okay, next question. How many years did it take for you to develop the feather quality that have you nowadays? Well, I breed since 40 years, and that's a lot of experience. And if somebody comes to my place and says, I want to buy some of your best birds, and in 5 years, I want to have the same quality like you have, that's very ambitious. And I think not, if he's a beginner, it's not possible. You need a lot of experience, and still every breeding season I learn something. And when I go make a visit anywhere, most of the time I can learn anything. If you speak with breeders that have lots of experience, they always can tell you anything that you can bring back home and you can try. And in my younger years, I was visiting not hundreds, but dozens of people, breeders all over Switzerland first and all over Europe, and then also went to South Africa, visited Reinhard Molketin and Pat de Beer, and that was, I think all the time you can learn anything. Just have to be careful, listening well, and pick up and try it at home. Something worked, something doesn't work. So what works well, you take it and go further and do it in the future as well. So to answer, going back to the question, it took about, let's say 20, 25 years until I had what I wanted. I always had an idea how the bird should look like, but I mean, each season you go a little bit closer to your ideal, and each season, if you work well, you get a higher percentage of birds that look the way you want them to look like. Okay, it's strange I speak and nobody, when I speak at school, always people interrupt me and have questions, and it's very strange for me now that nobody is saying something. Bob, are you still awake?
I'm still awake, my friend. I'm still here.
Good, good. Maybe everybody is sleeping.
Daniel, can I just make a comment?
No.
Oh, no. I think today is a great opportunity for many people to learn about you and how you look after your birds. And although I've been breeding birds now 60 years, I find that, like Daniel said, every time I go and visit somebody, you learn something. Even from novice breeders, sometimes you'll learn something. And when I have the good fortune to go and visit Daniel, sometimes we spend a few hours, sometimes we spend a few days. But it's always interesting because with you, unlike a lot of people, there is no secrets. It's just like you said, learning from people, taking it home and trying and seeing what works for you and what works for your birds.
There's nothing to add. It's exactly the way it is. Okay, we have so many questions. I have to go through quick. Next question is about feather development. It's difficult to buy a complete bird that has directional feathering, feather blow, deep mark, deep mask, big round spots, back skull. If a bird has all these features, it's a show winner. But let's say if you have big financial possibilities, buy birds like this. If you don't have this, just buy one feature. Let's say you buy a bird that has a nice blow, or you buy a bird that has good directional feathers, directional feathering about the ear, or you buy a bird with good back skull, and step after step, you have to put those features together. That's what I did. And I would have loved to buy a complete bird, but normally that's not possible. Nobody wants to sell you the best birds. You might get a youngster from one of the best birds that is not so good. And then you have to put it together. I always say breeding budgies is like a jigsaw. You have to put one piece to the other, and at the end you have the whole complete result. Okay, next question. Did you buy birds that you like from other breeders to develop your current feathers? Yes, of course I did. For example, what I can mention, the start with the best spots I've seen in my life were the birds from Reinhard Molketin in South Africa. He had stylish birds, and 50% or even more had big round spots. And I took some recessives from him, and these round spots, they still appear. So I tried to get the spots from Molketin. Or from Pat de Beer in South Africa. She lives in Cape Town. She had this extra length of feather from the Manikini lines. That means she had these long tails, long wings, long flight birds. And I told myself, if I'm able to get the feather that is so long, not on the body, not on the tail, but into the head somehow, then I can make a big progress, and that worked. But you have to make selection. Another feature I got from England, from the Wilson line, from Dennis Bruce or Keith Morehouse. They got the birds from Wilson. They had this nice blow, but a little bit blow is nice, but they have the tendency to make too much blow, and then you can see through the feathers, and that's I don't like. So, but a little bit from that blow, I also introduced into my birds. And the size of my birds, the frame, that's based on European birds. Yeah, as I told you, I started to breed seriously when I was about 15 years old. So that's more than 35 years ago. And don't think you can do it immediately. You have to go step by step. Okay, any question? Okay, about importing birds, different people always ask me to do that. How does it work? I can send birds anywhere as long as I get the official import license from you. So you anywhere, it doesn't depend which country. I'm selling birds in many different countries, but it's only possible if you are able to organize an official import license from your country. And then I work with Swiss Air Cargo, that's the Swiss national airline, and I can send the birds anywhere. And the costs, somebody asked about the costs, it's about 1,000, 1,500 euros for one shipment. And whether you buy 2 birds or 20 birds, the shipment price is almost the same. So, but when somebody just wants to buy four birds, that doesn't make sense, neither for him, neither for me. Minimum quantity is about 10 birds, 10 to 25 birds for international shipments. And the big part, people always think I'm organizing transportation. I do it when I have the documents in front of me, then I can go on. But the documents, I cannot organize documents from Brazil or whatever. The people from there have to organize it themselves, or from Philippines or whatever. And now with the COVID, from Switzerland, it's still open at the moment, but the borders to the other countries might get closed soon, and we will see how does it work in the future. The ideal size for a flight. My cages are 70 length. I would say 80 would be perfect. In Switzerland, we don't have so much space, and so my bird room is not that big as I would like to build it. And because of the size of the building, I had to make 70. I would say 80 on 50 on 50 would for me be an ideal cage. But of course, that's rather big. You have to know that my birds are maximum 8 months a year in a breeding box, and the other 4, 5, 6 months they are in the big flights with the other birds, and they can fly around better. That's not so interesting. I don't keep an outside flight for different reasons. I used to have this, but I don't know why. My birds didn't really go out. And also they make more noise outside. And I live here there's a lot of neighborhood, and I do not want to make problems with birds that make too much noise. So I keep them inside, but there are 4 big windows all around, and they are open most of the time. And yeah, it's very windy, and it's very important to have fresh air in there. About dust-free, I will show you that's very, very important, is that it's dust-free. Well, it's not dust-free in my room either. It's clean, but it's not dust-free. I use a professional air cleaning system for restaurants, and that also must be cleaned, of course. And I do that about every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's still not dust-free. But you know, I spend every day a few hours in the bird room. So for me, it's important to have fresh air, and I'm 100% sure for the birds, it's very important to have fresh air as well. Now we have end of October. That means in Switzerland it's getting colder, and I have soon to close the windows, and that means that the quality of the air is not that good anymore. And I can see that the quality of the youngsters is not exactly the same like at the beginning. Or let's say I lose more birds at the beginning. My breeding season starts normally around April, May, so springtime, summertime, autumn, and then I stop uh, in about around December, January I will stop, and then January, February, March, April will be a break, and then I want to start again. But the best birds are coming in summertime when all the windows are open. Did you hear that noise? Like it sounds like a tempest. Um, um, okay. Well, somebody's asking about my secrets of breeding budgies. There's not so much secret. It's hard work. Um, yeah, it's a hobby. You other hobbies you can make a few weeks. You do it, and then you don't like it anymore, and you put it back. And when it's nice weather, you take it here again. Budgie means 365 days a year work. And I have a few people that I can organize, that I can call when I go on holiday. And that's very important to have people around you that you can trust. And they look after the birds when I'm not here. And you should not become a slave of your hobby. You still should go out and enjoy, and otherwise it's yeah, very stressful. The budgies should be a joy, um, to make a work-life balance. So to yeah, to have something that it shouldn't cause stress. Breeding budgies should be a joy. And if many people keep too many birds, you only should keep as many birds as you're able to look really after them. Sometimes I visit people and they have 20 breeding boxes and they keep 100 cocks. And I ask, why do you keep so many? And they say, yeah, maybe one next year or every year I need this and this and this. I think if you have 20 breeding boxes, you don't need more than 30, 35 cocks. I keep almost twice as many hens. But there's no sense to keep birds just if you don't need them. And when you have a big room, then okay. But I, for example, I don't want to keep too many birds, because when there are too many birds, it can rather cause problems. Budgies, young budgies, they like to stay close, but by getting older, by getting mature, they, yeah, if there are too many birds, they start fighting and they do not feel relaxed anymore. Okay, it's already 20 minutes ahead. I can go on. I have 4 more pages, or I go to the bird room. What do you want? And I still can answer you some questions in the bird room.
Thank you.
Bob, Liliana, Tanya?
Yeah, Daniel, I think from the list, the first list we got, I think a lot of those questions will be answered as you walk through the bird room and show us the cages and the flights and things.
Yeah, I was talking about that, that maybe when you are walking and explaining things in your bedroom, you can, by the indirect way, answer some of the questions we have in the list.
I take them into the bird room, and if you have any question during the presentation, don't hesitate to ask. I have to take my phone. I go out now, and I'll be back in 1-2 minutes. I take my mobile phone, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Time for a pee or a coffee, or 2 minutes. I'm there.
Let's go for coffee.
Well, I hope everybody is enjoying so far.
So we are enjoying. I'm very excited.
Great opportunity to learn from somebody who undoubtedly is considered the top breeder of our era. You know, there's over the years there's been other people, but I think from memory there's not too many people who've stayed at the top as long as Daniel has. So you just listen, try and think of some things that he does that you can use, and I think you'll have more success in the hobby. And the important thing is, like he says, and he stresses when you're with him. This hobby should be enjoyable. So many people start and think it's a business and they're trying to make money. The only people in this hobby who make money are the very, very top breeders in every country. So enjoy it. Keep the number of birds, like Daniel said, that you can manage, and have a great time in the hobby, and look around at all the people who've joined you from different countries. There's not too many hobbies where you can meet people from all around the world like we do.
Thank you, Bob.
My daughter, my wife, my older daughter, our dog, our fire.
You're showing people in Mexico a fire. We don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's that's the fire.
I think we're in the bird room.
Oh wait, I have to make it like this. I forgot. Okay, that's the bird room. These are 20 breeding boxes, 1 to 20. These are another 20 breeding boxes, 21 to 40. That's a baby flight. That's another 20 breeding boxes, 41 to 60. And here you see it's the middle. And that's another 40 breeding boxes. And here again, these are baby flights. The whole system in my bird room, it's all on wheels, so I can move it easily wherever I want. And that's very important, especially for cleaning. So the whole system. Okay. Here is red millet, very important. They are grown by my friend Guillaume Faudet in Angers, France. And here are the breeding boxes. As I told you, always one cock with babies, with hens, and maybe there are some babies. And that's here I work. There's not much to see. Fresh eggs for tomorrow. Here I cook the eggs. That's for cleaning. That's also for cleaning. Yeah. These are oats for tomorrow. And now we can have a look downstairs.